Let's talk air purification. These what I call pseudo air purifiers, are these aftermarket add-on devices or standalone. They sell them in a bunch of different configurations. So what is a pseudo air purifier? It is a device that claims to clean the air but doesn't actually remove any of the harmful things. Mold, spores, VOCs, or fine particulates. Some of these devices even produce harmful byproducts. Many of them do, like ozone, formaldehyde, and whatnot. They also break down materials throughout the house, actually making indoor air quality worse. These devices use all sorts of nonsense marketing buzzwords, NASA technology. Just to be clear, NASA does not endorse any consumer products, so keep that in mind. Activated oxygen, that's just a code word for ozone, which is a respiratory irritant. We don't want high concentrations of ozone inside of our homes. This hole kills 99.9% of germs. That's in laboratory conditions. That is not the practical, really real world. You hear things like breakthrough technology that goes beyond HEPA, NASA-inspired technology. NASA has a, I don't know why they play on NASA quite a bit, but you hear things like active pure technology, certified space technology, used in the Pentagon and NASA shuttles. Most of this marketing is absolutely laughable. They look sleek and high-tech, but they offer false security without real protection. Not to mention, these things are pretty expensive. So this is a post that inspired me to make this presentation. This is a colleague. He posted this on Facebook or LinkedIn, I don't remember which one. He's showing his air advice monitor test report in a home that has one of these pseudo air purifier devices installed in the heating and cooling system. The results show high particulate count, high total VOCs, high formaldehyde, and high carbon dioxide. And his whole point was, I thought these devices were supposed to make the indoor air quality better, not make it worse. So I had a client reach out that was referred to me by my functional medicine doctor, and her husband were sick. The house came into question, environmental toxins came into question. So they hired me to come out and do a building science home performance assessment. When I knocked on the door and she opened the door, upon walking in this house, I smelled burnt plastic. It was very, very, very pungent. I pretty much got a headache instantly. So I walk into the house and the first thing I noticed was this little puppy sitting on the floor. I was not familiar with this particular brand at the time. So I just kind of snapped a picture and moved on. And I'm going through the house and I'm doing my assessment, and I find another one. This one was in the living room, and I go about my assessment, and lo and behold, I find another one in the living room. Well, I'm sorry, this other one was in the bedroom. This one was in the living room, and upstairs in the bonus room office, there was a fourth one. These particular ones, this particular brand is not cheap. This thing sells for $2,000. So this client spent $8,000 on these pseudo air purification devices and put her faith in these things that they were going to make a difference. They were going to move the needle in a positive direction to help the indoor air quality for her and her family, when in fact, I can't say what it was, but they were definitely having an adverse reaction in the house that smelled pretty toxic, in my opinion. Take that a step further, they had ultraviolet light installed on each of the heating and cooling systems. Okay, so KISS, guys, let's focus on the 4 pillars of indoor air quality here. Moisture control. We have to control moisture, is the bottom line. It's not difficult or complicated. Let's just keep it simple. Dr. Joe Stebrick likes to say it's not rocket science, it's building science. So 4 things that we focus on: moisture control. If we have water leaking in, we have a sink dripping under a countertop, we have an ice maker dripping water, we have high humidity, high vapor content in the house, nothing else matters. You can stop right there. You need to address the moisture. Source control. If it's toxic, don't bring it into the damn house. I know that's not always practical. In today's age, you're going to have toxins in the house. Just mitigate them as much as possible. Do your due diligence, read the labels, source materials wisely, and just do your very best you possibly can. Once you do that, ventilation becomes critical. We must have a controlled means of outdoor air ventilation to dilute the pollutants in the house and just bring in a good fresh air exchange from outdoors. After that is filtration. We have to have a very effective means of filtration, and that does not mean a 1-inch media filter in the grill. This has to be methodical. You have to design it into the system. It has to be incorporated into the system, and it has to be executed on a very, very high level to make it as effective as it needs to be. So let's see how well these pseudo air purifiers that this client spent $8,000 on did in this home. So here's some windows that are condensating, causing degradation on the sill and the surrounding trim. The home has no dedicated dehumidification strategy. And keep in mind, if we do not control water, moisture, or humidity, nothing else matters. So these devices do not control moisture at all. Always remember this. We don't have a microbial growth problem, we have a moisture problem. As you can see, this condensation causes microbial growth. You see a lot of water staining around these windows. So you can see how effective this $8,000 indoor air quality strategy is at controlling moisture. That $8,000 would have purchased a really robust ventilating, whole home ventilating dehumidifier, which would have done the moisture control, the ventilation, as well as the filtration all in one shot. However, this client was sold on these pseudo devices that promised the world and obviously is failing to deliver. Here are the 2 main condensate drain lines in the attic coming from each system. Now these are in the attic. These are supposed to be insulated, including the P-trap to prevent condensation. Always remember, we don't have a microbial growth problem, we have a moisture problem. So as you can see, where we have condensation, we have microbial growth. Now this is in the attic, but given the indoor air quality magic that these IAQ unicorns are supposed to do, I figured since we have 4 of them in the house, that it would ooze out a little bit and deal with any residual in the attic. But as you can see, they even failed at that. As home builders, general contractors, it is our job to build a controllable home. If we cannot deliver a home that does not leak water, air, that does not control vapor drive or heat flow, we failed as builders and general contractors. As HVAC plus D service providers, it is our job to gain control of that structure and then home, and then maintain that control. If I can't control moisture or humidity in the home as an HVAC plus D contractor, service provider, I failed. I failed my client. I failed at my job. I am the professional and I failed at that task. Comfort and efficiency are moot points if you cannot control the moisture in the home. Every AC contractor under the sun sells on comfort and efficiency, when in fact that is the least of my concern and it should be the least of your concern. So here are some pictures that were taken on the inside of these systems. I took these pictures with my borescope. They're not of very high quality, but you can you can get a good grasp of what I'm looking at in these units. This is active microbial growth. You can see a lot of cobwebs. These systems do have insects on the inside of them. We have active microbial growth. This is what this family is breathing 24/7 after spending $8,000 to improve the indoor air quality in their homes. So all that being said, this is my air advice report in the home that was taken at the time of my assessment. At that time, I didn't have a formaldehyde sensor installed, so this doesn't show formaldehyde levels at all. So let's see how this $8,000 pseudo air purification strategy actually worked. We have high levels of relative humidity, so moisture control, we failed. We have high humidity in the home. Source control, we failed. We have high levels of chemical, total VOCs. Filtration, we failed. We have high levels of particulate matter. Ventilation, we failed. We have high levels of carbon dioxide. So as you can see, this $8,000 pseudo air purification strategy failed this client, to say the least. That's not to mention the potential byproduct and side effects of this. So what does it take for superior indoor air quality? It's all about control. It takes a tight house that is controllable. I cannot have water dripping from the roof. I cannot have air pulling from the crawl space, the walls, the interstitial spaces, the attics. It takes service providers who have an understanding of building science and the mechanical systems it takes to control the home. It takes you, the homeowner, to realize the importance of these things and prioritize them in your home and your budget. You must be willing to pay for these things. You cannot shop for the best price here. Those of us that do very high-end work are very expensive. We cannot compete with your chucking a truck down the street. They will do it much, much cheaper than we can. That's just the fact of the matter. I cannot compete with these guys. That is a race to the bottom I don't want to play in, and I hope you don't want to play in. It gets you nowhere. So if you're looking for a service provider that specializes in healthy, high-performance construction, go ahead and scan my QR code right there. That's my full contact. I do everything from assessments, troubleshooting, I do consulting, I do full construction, major renovations, I do HVAC, mechanicals. I do pretty much everything under the sun when it comes to construction. I do it on a very high level. I am not your cheapest bidder. If you are looking for cheap work, do not call me. Do not waste my time. So hit me up anytime. Until next time, guys, I'm out.